What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be reacting to the final episode of Warlords of Sigrdrifa. This one's titled Welcome to Tateyama Base, which is the same title as last time, as the first episode of the show, just with an extra exclamation mark, because that seems to be a common thing in Japanese anime, like sequels especially. Like, for example, I think it was Working, maybe, that did this, but you have exclamation mark for the first series, and then like a double exclamation mark for a season 2, which is a very subtle difference, but it's still a difference. So they've basically done the same thing here for using episode 1's title name. But yeah, final episode of the show, final confrontation with Odin, assumably. I assume it's going to be the final confrontation with him. And he's building up his Enhya. I forget I looked up the pronunciation for it. It's gone already. But yeah, building up his army of the dead, essentially, to fight against Ragnarok, even though most of the events of Ragnarok seem to have occurred already. It would make sense that, well, for Odin to be defeated, he needs to be defeated by Fenrir, right? That's the mythology, that Fenrir is meant to come and kill him. So unless one of the goals is meant to be representative of Fenrir, I don't know what else is going to happen. Maybe Fenrir does show up in some aspects, but Odin himself is fighting here now, and alongside another weird entity thing, like obviously Thor's still going in its undead form, whatever that is, and then we have whatever is next to Odin. We have some more history of Odin and his children, or his daughters at least, that all seem to very much resemble Claudia, and assumably she's also one of them. That means she's a daughter of Odin, which, in theory, I guess, that makes her a Valkyrie, right? But Odin didn't have daughters per se. He had sons. He could have had daughters. Who knows how many illegitimate kids he ended up having. But yeah, we're attacking the primary pillar again. Everything's going well. We have a plan this time. We've prepared for all the eventualities that Odin will eventually bring. As-chan's doing exactly everything, and it's all going exactly according to plan, except Odin's now stepping in, which I don't know if they accounted for, Odin himself being in it, but he is a god, and you're in his realm, so to speak. So realistically, there should be no real way of overcoming that, except obviously Claudia also being of this realm, potentially awakening something. That's how I imagine it's going to be. I want to know who Claudia truly is to Odin, but I don't know if the show's going to go that deep into it, or if they'll leave it open for other media, like for manga releases or light novel releases in the future. Maybe a season 2. As of right now, there is no news of a season 2 being in production, so I'm going to assume that it has at least a relatively neat ending here, or at least one that is going to be satisfying enough without leaving too many questions, but I guess we'll see. But yeah, I guess without further ado, I should stop yapping and actually get into the episode. So as per usual, these are time-based form reactions here on YouTube. Bottom left screen, you'll see the time for the episode. I'll count down 3, 2, 1, play. Now on play, you start the episode, I start the episode, and we'll be in sync. We'll watch this one on Funimation as per usual, since that's who's licensed it this season, of course. Aniplex logo to start with, then the Funimation logo, so about 12 seconds logos, give or take. I'll call them out as they go past, and you also use screen flash on my face or the mic to tell when the scene's transitioning. So, it is a day late, I apologise for that, but Storm Bella was coming through yesterday, so yeah, that made recording a bit of a problem with the power, just intermittently cutting out every now and then. Couldn't get a full recording in even if I wanted to, so that's the reason for that, so catching up today. Anyway, with all that said, let's get into this week's finale, shall we? In 3, 2, 1, play. There's Aniplex. And Funimation, cheers to that. Here we go. Yep. Hey, it actually used Mjolnir. Okay. That's not where I expected this to go at all. You say that, but Hmm. Nope. What am I looking at here? So far, this has been kind of nothing, but hmm. So yeah, Guardia is going after Odin. Somehow, of course. Yeah. Hey, Shield Squadron. Yep. And OP? Yeah, okay, we're getting OP. Was the engine noise always in there in that one? Was that always engine noise? This is the first time I've ever heard that. Interesting. I don't think I've ever heard the engine noise in the OP before. Hmm. Maybe it's just me. Also, is the volume a little high? Just a little bit. Again, they've added music and they've added so many SFX to the OP. I don't know if it's improved it or made it worse. They made it worse. They made it worse. They definitely made it worse. None of it was in time with anything. Not this time, I don't think. Oh ho ho. Oh boy. Hmm. Yep. Oh boy. Does it do anything? That's gonna do nothing, is it? Ho ho. Hey, we got an upgrade. Nay, a third cannon, alright. He's got a point. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm. Okay. So she is essentially an Asgardian god. Well, that's not true, I don't think. Mm-hmm. Okay. Just refusing him. It's gonna take a while to find that, probably. Hey, the song's back. Don't close your eyes in the middle of a dogfight, just saying. Getting all the extras. Oh, that's all it took was the song, okay. Yeah. Looks like he might still be a bit of a problem. The Rival Lies Beyond, alright. There we go. Hmm. What? Oh. The other thing. The thing I'm doing, yeah. I need to look some of this stuff up. Hmm. Holy shit. Uh, nice. Oh wow, that actually works. Okay. Hmm. So now they choose not to use all the dramatic sound effects and stuff. Holy shit. Goodbye, 4. Crash landing inside. I'm gonna guess so. And he's still alive, of course. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, you won't. Yeah. You've already lost them all, though. That's the problem. Oh boy. To fight what? Hmm. Yep. Nice. Oh. Well. Hmm. Goodbye, primary pillar. That's one down. What about the rest of them? What happened to everything inside the pillars? Yes. Mm-hmm. It's not over just yet. Oh, that's Gladio as well. Now we can celebrate a little. All the primaries are dormant. Okay. Obviously, yep. The pillars are dormant. They're not gone, though. We still have to take the rest of them out, I guess. But if they're dormant, can they reactivate now with Odin out of the picture? If 4 was in Fuji's primary pillar, who else lies in the other primaries? That's what I'm curious about. Good victory music, though. Still got a little time. Mm-hmm. In memory. Yeah. Shield Squadron gave themselves up. I feel like they got done a bit dirty with their emotional goodbyes, but whatever. I feel like they got done dirty with their final scene. Hmm. Yep. Hmm. Hmm. Seems to have vanished, yes. Hmm. Still secondaries, okay. Yeah. I haven't had a lot of time to do anything, I guess. Obviously. I love this mechanic so much. Uh, Oh, we're taking off again. Alright. Still got plenty of the episode left, though. Don't think they're going to go into... We are going into ED. Is it going to be any different? Doesn't look like it. Just going to have the same ED. Some of these backgrounds and like the things in the shop windows might be different, though. I don't know. But I think otherwise it's the same ED. Well, that was an interesting show. And they've left it open enough that they can continue with this. Honestly, this would make a good mobile game. Like a gacha game. You could get pretty good with this. You could have this... You could have the plain version of Kankol, Azur Lane, Arpeggio, those types of games. Maybe not Arpeggio. I think the Arpeggio game kind of... I don't know what happened to the Arpeggio game. I don't know if it ever got any better than when I initially played it. But you could definitely have a Azur Lane style game with this. Alright. Anything more? No, that was it. Okay. Okay. Good finale. I won't say it's the best finale of the season. It was a good finale. I do feel bad for Shield Squadron, because I feel like their moment there was kind of... I think their moment was kind of diminished a little bit, and it just didn't feel like it had as much impact. Like... I don't know, it just... You know, I thought they'd try and do more impact, considering how they handled that one random guy's death in, like, episode 3, was it? I think it was 3. When they had to do the evacuation and all that. And he was one of, like, the first responders in the helicopter and all that. Like, they gave him so much more of a special treatment in terms of the meaning of his death and stuff. And it's like, I was like, okay, this show's actually going to acknowledge its dead characters and is going to make a big deal out of it. And then Shield Squadron kind of get, like, pushed aside a little bit. It's like, especially their sequence where they were, like, sacrificing themselves, didn't have much impact because it was just all musical. And it was like, none of it felt like it had oomph to it. Like, I think my biggest criticism of this show, aside from the... I might be being overly harsh on this show, just because it didn't quite live up to the expectation I wanted from it. Because when I first heard of this series, back in, like... When did they announce this? It was like March time. March, April, when I first started hearing about this and was getting excited for it. May have been earlier than that, in fact. I was starting to see some of the stills and stuff. It was like... Girls and Panzer, but planes was kind of where I was going with it. The mythology touch kind of... I don't know if it helped it so much. It gave it a narrative, instead of leaving it purely slice of life, so I appreciate that to an extent. But I feel like the plane action kind of got left behind because of it. It was less about the planes than anything. They were just there to say, oh look, we use historical planes for this. And modern ones as well, but... I kind of just felt like a gimmick just to say, hey look, we've got them. In a way, and like, look at us and our 3D models of our planes that ultimately we didn't utilize as much as I hoped they would. So that's my main critique with the show. But the secondary critique I had, especially, this episode especially seemed to have it, when they changed the OP and started adding sound effects to it. Why? Why would you do that in episode 12? Like, I swear I'm not going crazy, right? That OP had actual sound effects unlike the rest of the OPs of the season. Right? I'm not going crazy here. but why was it there? It didn't really add much. The mix was kind of off, and the actual effects they used were not in sync at all to what was happening on screen. Like, they had a flyby noise when they were just holding position. It was like, why? It was a really odd choice, and I don't think it helped in any way. So I was perplexed by that, and then I think that persisted through the episode. The choice of when to use music only and when to use sound effects was completely off, in my opinion. I don't think it worked anywhere near as well as it should have done, especially for Shield Squadron, because like their death should have had much more impact, and the fact they just used a baseline music track and that was it for the entire thing, it kind of felt like they were running low on time to get that together, and that was just their backup solution should they not be able to have time to get that to the full version they were expecting. That's what it felt like. Like, if you guys remember Azuken from Winter Season, where they had the issue of the music tracks completely being replaced, and they had to use basically backup audio and backup music because they didn't have the actual track they wanted, and they wouldn't have it in time for the actual anime they're producing. It felt like that. It felt like an example of that just in real life. Odd choice for that. Like, again, Shield Squadron got done dirty, I think, in terms of their impact there. Like, they've been such a likable and consistent group of characters throughout this whole show, and then that's how they go out. It's like, okay. I wouldn't mind seeing, honestly, just looking at this, if this had been a 13-episoder, I mean, technically this was a 13-episoder, right? The first episode was double length. So, it was essentially a 13-episode anime. Even then, that episode felt kind of rushed to an extent. But maybe that's just me being overly harsh on this show. I don't know. But I feel like this had more potential than I think it really utilized. Especially considering the theme it had. But whatever. Now, I just wanted to look up a couple of things from that thing. Tearfing was a magic sword in Norse mythology who features in Tearfing's cycle. Includes a poem from Poetic Edda called Havakvia and the Havara Saga. Let's see more about this. Okay. It's a curse or something in the Goths and something? I don't see how this relates to anything. How do you say that name? Svaflami? Svaflami? I butchered that probably. Odin's grandson managed to trap the dwarves to Valendurin, where they left rock, forced them to forge a soul golden hilt that would never miss a stroke, would never rouse them, and cut through stone iron as easy as through clothes. Cursed it so he kills Svarlin himself. Well, obviously didn't kill Claudia, did it? So, I don't know why they used that name for this. I don't know, maybe there's more meaning to that. Those of you who are better versed with Norse mythology can maybe get a bit more meaning out of that, but yeah, it seems to be a mystical sword that the two dwarves forged and was initially cursed to kill the one that originally asked them to make it. Or forced them to make it. I shouldn't say asked. It was definitely much a forced thing. But yeah, overall, I think this had more potential than it ultimately used. I think the direction they went with it, making it so narrative heavy, detracted from what made it unique, I think. Because it didn't have... Why did it have to be planes? Like, you didn't really need to have the whole historical plane concept and modern plane concept. You could have done that story with literally anything else. You could have made it just on swords. You could have made it on tanks. You could have made it on boats. You could have done any premise for combat in this type of show with that narrative, and it wouldn't really have altered too much, except you wouldn't have the Valkyrie and the wings play on words and stuff. I feel like the story was too heavily focused and wasn't necessarily its strongest points. Like, the slice of life moments, it depends on if you like slice of life and how you feel about it overall, because I know not everyone enjoys slice of life, and will say that a show that is narrative focused like this is far superior to slice of life. But I think both can work. I just think you need to find the right balance, and I don't think the overall plot of this felt too rushed. I like that they've left it open, because it means they can do future projects with it as an original work. I don't think this is getting a second season somehow. I don't think it's... Well, anyone from Japan, let me know how this series did over there, but somehow I don't think this is going to be getting a second season. At least not announced yet. We'll see in future. A game would work for this very, very well. Like I said, I think a mobile gacha game would really work with this type of property. It has the opportunity to become the plain version of Azur Lane, because what is the plain version of Azur Lane? Realistically, what is competing with it in that type of theme? There really isn't one. Is there a tank version either? Like, Curls and Panzer was essentially the tank version of Azur Lane, but with a... Well, no, it wasn't, because there's different concepts on how the tanks and the crew work. Like, in Azur Lane, the girls are the boats. In this one's a bit fuzzy, but in Girls and Panzer, the crew man the tank and operate the tank. They're separate. So, I don't know if there really is a plane or boat version of Azur Lane, but someone's got to be thinking of doing that. Like, you've got to be thinking of doing it. Like, you've seen how popular Azur Lane is, and that's with naval boats, which I guess for Japan maybe has a bit more of a historical... maybe that has more of a historical meaning, since Japan always prided itself on its navy through the Second World Wars. They were very much a naval nation, so maybe that's why. Aviation-wise, I'm sure there is enough of appeal. I mean, the fact they didn't use a zero in this, maybe they didn't want to use zero because of the war connotations of it. Perhaps. Maybe that's still maybe a touchy subject if they see a zero. But who knows? And Japan and tanks haven't really been much of a... It's not really a thing, to be honest, but... Yeah. Overall, I will say this was an enjoyable show. Not my favourite. Overall, I think I'm a little disappointed with it, but not to the point of, like, saying it was a terrible show. It was still enjoyable. I still enjoyed the theory crafting, Norse mythology intertwining. I feel like that was kind of underused, though, almost, and kind of became just, like, there, but not really there in a weird way. So I'll go into more depth as well with the end of season review that'll be happening possibly this weekend. We'll see. I'm very tentative to give like things like that, but hopefully this weekend coming up, like 2nd or 3rd of January. Around then I'll give a bit more of an in-depth discussion on how I would rate it and things like that. So stay tuned for that. That'll be with all the shows from this season. And I can go in a bit more depth of how I feel about it, given a bit of time to process it and such. So, thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. Leave a like if you did, as per usual, as it helps grow the channel. As do your comments. Let me know what you thought of this final episode and the whole show now that it's complete. If you would like to see more of this in future projects, if you think this would be a good game like me, let me know your thoughts. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that. Don't forget to subscribe as well to see next week. Hopefully the full 2020 wrap up. Hopefully, we'll see. But also the winter 2021 season is kicking off very soon. Hopefully tomorrow as well, I'll be doing my winter 2021 preview where I go over all the shows I've listed. I've got them here in my notebook already. The 27/8, it's weird, shows that I plan to watch from that season and give a chance, and what the schedule looks like, provided that all the simulcasts come out as expected anyway. So, thank you for watching. Until next time, see you guys later.